This is the, make sure I get it all from this level. This level seems to be harder coal.
This is the underlying the sandstone layer. We'll have photographs of this. So I'll put this site as
You have your
below sandstone.
Here, I got it.
You're still working under that lower layer there. Good.
yeah, I want to get this, near the bottom here.
I have a screwdriver, Bob, if you need a screwdriver.
Okay.
Oh, you got a kit there, all right. Okay, when you get done digging, Bill will move away and I'll grab a picture of that general area there.
Okay.
Bob, you can just stay put as this stuff going on. Okay, just a little bit more focusing here and I'll be with you. Okay. Got it? Did you notice what I noticed?
How did the,
Notice the curvature.
of the strata?
Of all the strata, all
Yeah,
nice curvature there.
yeah.
See that a lot in sedimentary rock strata, like it happened very quickly.
But wouldn't you say that it looks like it's sunk?
But could have sunk.
Because it isn't like
Could have sunk. Could have been a number of things. We weren't there.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own interpretation, right?
That's right. Now that we have acquired the samples from the field and have them in the laboratory, let me explain to you a little bit about how carbon-14 works, how the dating method works. In the 1940s, Willard Libby, a physicist, discovered that carbon-14 was produced primarily in the upper atmosphere when radioactive material came in from outer space, cosmic rays. They would hit some of the atoms in the atmosphere and produce neutrons, and those neutrons would react with the nitrogen in the atmosphere and convert it at that spot in the upper atmosphere into carbon-14. And when the carbon-14 is formed in the upper atmosphere, it almost immediately reacts with the oxygen in the atmosphere to form carbon dioxide. So now we have in the upper atmosphere some radioactive carbon dioxide mixed with the regular carbon-12 carbon dioxide, and that as it mingles in the atmosphere and approaches the surface of the Earth through photosynthesis, that carbon dioxide is converted to sugars and starches and cellulose in the plant material that we have all around us. Now those plants, as long as they live, they'll continue to absorb the radioactive carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. They will also, as they're used for feed for animals and for us as humans, when we eat those plants, we too become radioactive with that carbon-14 material. As long as we live, as long as we continue to eat, then there'll be a balance in our system dependent on the concentration of that radioactive material in the atmosphere while we live. Now when we die, we no longer, of course, take in any food, and that's when the clock starts for carbon-14 dating. Now, a lot of people assume that the dating method is a fact, and it's like looking at your watch. You can determine what time it is today, and if you watch your calendar next week, you can find out exactly where you are in history. But it's not quite that simple with carbon-14. We acknowledge that it's a good method, but it also has some serious flaws that unless they're considered, the dating can be questionable. Now, one of the problems is that we know today how much carbon-14 is being produced in the atmosphere, but we're not sure And we have to really do a lot of guessing in order to find out what it was 5,000 years ago, or 10 or 15,000 years ago. In fact, the farther we go back in time, the more serious the problem becomes. In fact, the only way to get a true date with carbon-14 dating is to find an object or an artifact archaeologically that we know the date of. An example with that would be some wood from King Tut's tomb in Egypt. We know with historical records how old that wood probably is, and we can date that wood, find out how much carbon-14 is in it, and then using the date that we know it to be, decide that any other samples that have a similar concentration of carbon-14 would probably be the same date as that material. Now, without that archaeological evidence, carbon-14 dating is is not an accurate tool. Now, the problem is beyond that. When the artifacts are no longer available, then we have to make many assumptions, assumption after assumption, on what the conditions were like back in those times. And we know that there has been major fluctuations just in recent history. The nuclear bomb testing in the 1950s and 60s created a doubling of the carbon-14 in the atmosphere. The industrial age, where the carbon dioxide was pumped into the atmosphere and continues to be pumped into the atmosphere by steel mills, that diluted the carbon-14. We know that volcanoes, forest fires, and things like that also upset the balance on Earth of the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So all these things need to be taken into account, and there's somewhere in between the fact of carbon dating and the fiction of carbon dating that reality lies. And within the past 4,000 or 5,000 years, we're very confident that it's accurate. Beyond that, it becomes very speculative.